please introduce yourselves and how has the industry shaped you as a person?
So my name's Brendan Byrnes. I'm an actor, writer, producer and owner of Shadow Wolves Productions. How this industry has shaped me as a person, it's made me resilient, very resilient. It's played a big part in that. And it's taught me, well, slowly teaching me, I guess. I still haven't learned it, that imposter syndrome that we just spoke about. How to back yourself. There's always going to be naysayers and haters, and it's just knowing when to back yourself, but also not having a big enough ego that you can pivot when needed as well and say this isn't working. So yeah, I think for me it's definitely made me check my ego at the door. Quite a few years ago, which was a good thing for me growing up. And yeah, the resilience, that's probably the biggest, and determination. Yeah, you need to be determined to make it.
The question was, go again? That's the hardest one.
Your name and how has the industry shaped you as a person?
Okay. I'm Laura Sambono. I am co-founder and producer of Razor Bear Films, a First Nations horror company based in Western Sydney. We run a feature film slate as well as crew pathways program, actor, something that I can't remember right now, and moving into verticals. Very fun. And my memory as a goldfish, the second question was...
How has the industry shaped you as a person?
Oh my goodness. It has taught me to stress eat. Not a great one to pick up, I would recommend. But it has helped me to learn to network and to, again, back yourself, probably the best one. Yeah, because there are a million reasons why you shouldn't do something. But if you know in your gut that it's the right thing to do, then go for it. You never wait for a yes from someone else, because no one else is as invested in your life and in your work as you will be.
So how did you guys get into the industry?
So how I got into the industry? I sort of fell into it as an actor to start with. I started doing extras work actually, and then did a few TV shows, and then found out I liked some behind the scenes stuff as well, and liked a bit more of the production side of it. So I started writing a lot of stuff, and me and a couple of mates got together and was shooting it all, and then found that I wanted to start producing a lot of my own work, because there just wasn't enough as an actor that starting out anyway, for showreel material and all that sort of stuff. So myself and acting friends, we all sort of got together and just started making stuff, and then started entering into film festivals and then getting a little bit of momentum that way. Started Shadow Wolves Productions, my company, back in 2011. And then, yeah, from there it's just basically sort of progressed. Yeah. Momentum just kept building, and went from a lot of really sort of short films, micro short films, to then higher shorts, a bit more funding involved, and then now into features and stuff. So, yeah, it's just progressed that way.
So I actually run a First Nations horror company. So I'm a little bit different. I am not an actor. I stand very much behind the camera. You are very lucky that he pulled in a favour for me to sit in front of a camera today. So I came into the industry after I had my kids, and my husband's a writer-director. And I walked onto one of his sets just being a nice, happy, helpful wife, and went, oh, this is ass backwards. This is not efficient whatsoever. And because I was a former architect, I just went, yeah, we can project manage the hell out of this much more efficiently. And that's kind of, I am a producer. So creative, but not, I'm more on the money end of it.
Not business side.
Yes, I do the business of filmmaking and making it all kind of earn money.
Okay, what I want to know is what motivates both of you to do the work that you do.
I have... well, entertainment for one. I want to entertain, obviously. That's one of the reasons I got into film. But a big thing for me is social factors, underlying social factors, and things that taboo topics, things like that. I did a teen suicide prevention film a few years ago, or about 8 years ago, and everyone was saying, "No, don't do it, don't touch it, don't touch that topic. It's suicide. Well, yeah, it's career suicide. But yeah. So for me, I do a lot of horrors now as well, and it's trying to get an underlying theme or an underlying social issue out into the world, open up that topic of conversation, but do it in an entertaining way. So that's what sort of motivates me. What's this underlying theme here? That's the creative side of it for me. Yeah.
As filmmakers, we have the ability to shape a new narrative. And what I love about filmmaking is that we can take a very old, boring ideal and we can re-educate the general populace about a new concept, a way of thinking of it. So for us being First Nations company, we are very focused on representation, very focused on changing the narrative around First Nations people and helping them to think of big issues in our Australia's history in ways that they can identify with and understand. Generally using the vehicle of horror, because everyone understands horror, right? We're all afraid of something. But when we put it in terms that other people can understand, we all can have a conversation around a difficult topic that needs to happen.
I was wondering, what does an average day look like for you guys?
So an average day for me, depends if I'm on a film set, if I'm not on a film set, pre-production is very different to development. It's very different to obviously being on a film set. And I don't also do this full time, so I've got 3 kids at home. So pretty much 5:30, wake up, go to the gym, come home, get kids ready for school, take them to school. If I'm not on a film set, I sort of do my own. I've got 3 films in production, or 2 in development, 1 in pre-production, and 2 in post at the moment. So yeah, just liaising with all the different departments, all the different people. There's different teams on all of those films as well. So just liaising with them and finding out where we're at. What I need to work on, what I can delegate. It's one of the biggest things that you can do as a producer is learn to delegate. I'm a instructor, first aid instructor as well. So I'll go to do that for a few hours, come back, get back into pitch decks, and it's full on. Well, on a production day, it's probably a little bit easier. You sort of just show up, do your thing, put out all the little fires, look after sound checks when they don't work, all that sort of stuff. Deal with issues on the day. Not much rest involved there, but I think that's something you got to sort of work on, is finding the time to rest during all that.
Yep. Typical day. There is no day that is the same, ever. Oh, actually, no. There is one recurring thing that happens in my day every day. It is what we call the imposter syndrome. Every morning I wake up and go, "Oh shit, I'm still in this job. I really should have picked a different industry." And then I ride that roller coaster of, everything doesn't work, and I can't do this crap, and then here we go again. And that's a continual thing. It kind of, would you agree, never goes away? Sometimes it's stronger than other times, but the reality is, if you want to be in this industry and survive, it really is last man standing. You have to motivate yourself every day to get out, to figure out what your to-do list is, and what's most important, and push all the worries and the stress to the side and keep pushing through. I work some days UK time frame through to US time frame and the Australian hours. So there are days that for weeks on end, I will be back to back over 3 time zones. Is it fun? No. Do I want to murder my children through that? Yes. But then I know, I love my kids. No, I do. They're really good. They put up with a very cranky mum sometimes. But there is no typical day. The best wisdom would be get used to being uncomfortable. And if you can make peace with that feeling, the rest will work out.
Okay, so how do you come up with your projects?
For me, it's I feel it's usually a theme or a topic, and that could be sparked from an image or something I've heard or read or a story. But it usually sort of, something resonates with me first, and then from there I'll adapt it and then sort of work the genre around it. I've got something at the moment I'm working on around AI, but looking at different genres in how that's going to work, what the market needs. As Laura was saying, the business side of it is 50, well, more than 50% of it. But we get stuck, and myself included, get stuck on the creative side of it. And for so many years, I was just so focused on the creative side of it and putting all these things together and saying, well, there's not a market for it. The market wants this at the moment or this at the moment. So for me, it's now, I'm sort of pivoting there, where I'm now looking at the theme or the underlying issue and then working the genre into it to fit into the market audience as well. So.
Question.
How do you come up with projects?
I don't. I do the research of what the market is wanting. I go through and find its return on investment, and then find people with financiers to come through and to pay for it, who will then make me money, and then I can continue to live my life. I find and partner with people with ideas who are creatives first, and I bridge the gap between creativity and money. As a producer, we walk the line with creatives to shape, but we are generally not the originator of the idea. Yeah?
What are 3 trends that you think we should know about?
There is a common push to say that as a filmmaker, you should make your film, send it to festivals, and you'll become rich and famous. Don't buy into that false idea. That is one way of doing it. A very small minority of people make their dreams come true that way. And they usually come with a good trust fund to make that film. Unless you come with a trust fund, and I'm assuming being in Kingswood, that is probably not the case, find another way. Yes, you can back your own film. Yes, you can monetize it in multiple ways. But that first jump into a film festival is very unlikely. Yeah? Hard work always wins in the end. Another trend is what I saw recently was AI trailer made, like high quality AI trailers, to sell unmade films through pre-sales at film markets. Do I need to explain any of those words? No, we're all good with those? Okay. They are proving to be incredible for pre-sales on films. And the other one I think is verticals. I think you need to pay attention to. They are cheap, easy, and nasty to make, and they make you money quickly if you monetize them. Whereas features and shorts typically don't go very far unless you find a way to sell it on. There are things coming through the works as where they're making anthologies from shorts. Look into that. Otherwise, verticals are a sustainable studio system here in Australia that we can model that will give continual work and take that risk of being a creative out of everyday money situations. Tag.
Yeah, so verticals are a huge thing coming through. Personally, I've never been involved with them. I had an audition for one last week. And so I've knocked a few auditions back for them because it wasn't an area that I wanted to get into. But that was me probably being a bit naive. I didn't want to jump on the iPhone bandwagon when that started back in 2008 either. So for me, I then looked into it and I thought this is progressing. Similar to AI, it's not going anywhere. And everyone's on their phone and it's short, sharp, quick little things now where you can still get your story across. And so, so I auditioned for it. So we'll see how we go. So verticals are a huge thing that's, they did another one over in, I forget where it was. It was somewhere near Russia. But anyway, they're doing them all. They're global now. So you're getting them everywhere. So it's obviously not just a local market for these verticals. They're international. So. Yeah, and this particular one that I was talking about over in Russia, they spend a lot of money. There was a big finance attached to it. So, that's one area I'd look at trend. The second one is AI. It's huge. for pre-production and development. A lot of people in the film industry are scared of it, and I get that. And taking away my jobs, and well, I don't think it's going to take over your job. But if you're smart in knowing how to use AI as a tool to help you do your job, I'm developing. Actually, I started developing it. I don't know if you guys still do the app in this class. Is that the Cert 4 maybe, where you develop an app? I developed an app in Tafe, and now I think it's about 90% of the way through using AI for the full pipeline. So from development right through till to release and distribution, and getting your producer offset and everything, so it does everything in just one platform.
Need explanation on that one?
Long hours, but it's all built on AI, and you're using it as a tool, and it's saved so far. If someone comes to me, used it the other day, for your coverage and all that sort of stuff. That's your basic sort of stuff. But AI is just a huge player in the market, in the industry. If you don't get on board with it and sort of learn how to use it and how to capitalize on it, you will be left behind. And then the third one is probably the LED screens, which are overdoing the green screens now. And I don't know if you guys have used the green screens yet, but there's definitely a market for the LED screens using them. They're a lot more expensive, obviously, but than just putting a green slab up on the wall. However, for an actor, you're going to get a better response out of their acting because they can actually see things and for their atmosphere and whatnot. So,
What are the top one or two emerging technologies you think we should keep an eye out for?
Yeah, I'd definitely say the top two, the AI and the LED screens, because they're coming in hot and fast. But like I said, AI, you can use it to, as much or as little as you want in the industry. I know a lot of writers that are scared that it's taking their jobs, but I was speaking to a line producer the other day, who liked the concept of it because it saved him hours and hours and hours. It's never going to be perfect, and he goes over it and gives it a fine tune and tweaks everything. But what's now taking him 2 hours to do used to take him, at least 10 hours. So, that's probably the biggest thing.
Okay, so this is a very competitive industry. So how do you stay ahead of the game in your respective roles?
It is not a competitive industry. It should not be a competitive industry. When one rises and we all work together, we all rise. And that is probably the major problem with the Australian industry at the moment, is we are pit against each other to fight for a certain amount of money, which doesn't go anywhere near where it needs to go. But the reality is, if we work as a team, we all do better. To be competitive, though, you need, to stay relevant. Let's go with relevant. See, it's my producer brain jumps in. Let's just swap the word round and everyone will sell that one quicker. To be relevant, though, I attend a lot of markets and festivals, whether that be Screen Forever, MIF, Berlinale, TIFF, AFM, EFM, right? All of those. I attend markets to continue building networks, to listen to the current trends in the global market, because Australia is very isolated because we're so far. We miss a lot of the great information sharing happens in a global market setting than because we are here and not as many of us go. So number one is attend markets where you've got the money and the cash to, make friends and network the hell out of it, because it is your networks that keep you current and relevant.
Yeah, it's It is competitive. It's a cutthroat industry, but it's only competitive, I think, if you allow it to be. I have been pitted against a lot of people at the same level as me, producing and doing a lot of things, and I guess it's a mindset. I go into something thinking, like, I came here today and thinking, I wonder what she's working on, what we can sort of look at, what we could potentially work on together, where her strong suit is, where my weak spots are. I'm producing for another person at the moment. I said, I don't know much about distribution. He goes, I'm all over distribution, but I don't know anything about the other side of it. So great. We work well together. So I look for strengths and weaknesses and where my strengths fit into someone else's potential weakness and where we can strengthen each other and actually collaborate. There's about 5 of us who just did a short film, not because we had to get experience or anything, but we wanted to collaborate and do a short film together. We didn't have the money for a feature, so we chose a short. But we do every short, and this is some advice for you guys. If you're doing a short now, like you said before, there's not much of a market for shorts. Use them as a proof of concept for bigger feature films, because recently I know about 3 people who have had shorts as proof of concepts and now receive funding. One just got a 500,000 co-production over in the UK. So it's 500 there, 500 here. So, that's money given to them to do her film, based off a proof of concept that she did, in the Blue Mountains. So it's one of those things, it's competitive if you let it be competitive. And a lot of people, unfortunately, especially around Western Sydney and Sydney, it's not a big industry. You sort of all cross paths at some point. Like I said about that ego, just check your ego at the door. This industry doesn't need it. Basically, don't be a dick.
What is your greatest achievement so far and why?
For me, it was I'm Here Too, the teen suicide prevention film. That was very close to my heart, and a lot of people did say, don't do it. But I pushed through it. Not one single person got paid on that film set. I offered a few people, and they said no because of what it stood for. So that was good to see society coming together for that. And we got... I think it's probably close to 20 million views now, but it went viral on YouTube, and we did have a light distribution deal at the start, which is rare for a short film, but I knocked it back based on I wanted it to be free. That wasn't the point for that. It wasn't about making money and things, which is probably stupid for my business mind, but for my emotional mind, we put it out there. Ended up making about 11 grand off YouTube, just monetizing off YouTube, so that was all right. But it was still for free, and that was done 8 years ago, and it still gets about 300 views a day worldwide. There's over 100,000 comments on there on YouTube still. YouTube put a ban on it for a while. Now you've got to be over 18 to log into it and watch it, so I can't monetize it. But it's still getting, one woman the other day said she's 22, because I still try to read as many comments as I can. She's 22 and she's come back after 8 years, and watched it again. She's now spiraling again, and that helped her, and sent me a personal email as well. So that, to me, over the past 8 years, however many people have sort of reached out to me personally saying this film saved their life, that was huge for me, as I wrote it, directed, produced, and acted in it. So for me, I saw every single different aspect of that film, and it was a very, very emotional film. So for me, to be 8 years on and still getting recognition for that, and I think we won it, nominated for about 22 awards. I think we won 12. But that's just a huge thing. So for me, that's probably my greatest accomplishment, because it told me if you have the belief in something, it doesn't matter who around you says not to do it. If you believe in yourself and you believe in the project and the topic, do it. So that was sort of my biggest accomplishment in film.
Congratulations, that's awesome. For me, biggest accomplishment so far was just this year I was selected by WIFT Australia, which is Women in Film and Television. They loved my project, that they paid for an all expenses trip to Berlinale, which is the European film market, and I attended there for 10 days and had back-to-back meetings with sales agents, rest of world agents, to pick up the film and to make deals, which was fantastic. Firstly, because I'd never been to Berlin, and that was an education in and of itself. And I've never done a 30-hour flight before. That was another education. And then being in 2 big buildings, 10 floors high, of people in film. And that was another education. So of that trip has come many wonderful doors opening and leading way to theatrical release, which is fantastic.
What's your greatest failure and what did you learn from it?
I am perfect. Oh, wait, we said check our egos at the door. My greatest failure? There are so many. I am probably full of more failures than accomplishments. In thinking of that one for the question before, it took me a while to think of something. I wish I started younger, and I wish I knew more, and I wish I had more money. They're probably not all failures, but they feel like failures and barriers sometimes. I have made many dumb mistakes. I have told off distributors. I have rocked boats. I have stomped on feet accidentally. And I've made my way through, and I am still alive and still reasonably respected where I go. Failures are there to help us to grow and to learn. I wouldn't be the person I am today if I hadn't have made all those mistakes. And therefore now know how to fix those mistakes when they happen again or to not make them again. Yeah?
My biggest failure is something I live with every day. It's that imposter syndrome that we're speaking about. That little voice inside your head that says, "What the hell am I doing? Do I need this? Do I know this?" That's real. No matter. I got told quite a few months ago by another producer who's done a fair bit of stuff. You need to back yourself more. Because every goal you kick, you then move the goalpost. So you constantly, well, I do. So you constantly, the little wins. As soon as we got on here too, people were raving about it. It's got 12 million views, and I was like, yeah, cool. Okay, what's the next thing? And I never learnt to sit there and accept those wins, just the little daily wins that make it all worth it. Because I keep moving the goalpost. So I'm slowly learning to accept the win and appreciate that, and be humble in that as well. Because just because this one worked doesn't necessarily mean the next one's going to work. So yeah, for me, the biggest failure is is being too hard on myself. I think most of the time, and continuing to move that goalpost. Yeah, accept the wins. Wish I'd learned that.
Can I add one? Social media.
Yeah.
Yeah, as a filmmaker, there's no time. And when you have a mindset for a bigger audience, the idea of jumping online and making a short video just somehow manages to always escape me. So that is a failure that I am always trying to improve, but never quite managing to.
Yeah. Social media. But it's a necessary evil in today's society, especially for filmmakers and staying relevant and all that sort of stuff.
Well, now that you've been working in the industry for a certain amount of time, what advice and tips would you give to your younger self or other people starting out?
Don't do it. No, I'm joking.
Get a desk job.
Learn the business side earlier. I've had Shadow Walks Production since 2011, but probably only the past 3 years I really started delving into the business side of it. I was very creative before that, and that actually stopped me. I been knocked back from a lot of funding from Screen Australia, and I called a meeting with them and I said, "What's going on? This is creatively, it hits the mark, it hits every single nail on the head." They said, "Yes, creatively it does, but business side of it, so those are some big things that I wish I'd learnt earlier, because I wouldn't be chasing those things now. I would have already had, tick those off. So yeah, learn the business side early on. It's for me, it's boring. Some people love numbers, they love that sort of stuff. But for me, I'm more creative. But yeah, learn the business side early on, and be in touch with yourself and your own emotions and your own strengths, and know when it stops becoming fun. If you are doing this job for money, good luck.
There are easier ways.
Definitely easier ways to get money. Most people, especially starting out, hopefully you all get, the first thing, stars align and you become millionaires off the very first thing. That's what we can all hope for. What does it say? It takes 10 years to become an overnight success. So at the end of the day, the reality is you're going to be doing a lot of unpaid stuff for experience. So know your self-worth though. Yeah, get those things under your belt. And I still do free stuff now. If the project is right or whatnot, and I don't need the money, and whatever it may be, we all still need to keep our lights on though, and pay bills and pay kids' school educations and all the good grown-up stuff. However, just know your self-worth, but you've also got to have the reputation to back up that self-worth. Recently I had someone put quite a high price tag on their fee, and I said, so what have you done? Well, nothing yet. Great, cool. So he knows his self-worth, probably overestimated his self-worth a little bit in that area. Not saying he's not capable of doing it, but he doesn't have the runs on the board to back it up. So, learn and get on set as much as you can. That's why I asked you guys before, what do you want to do in the year? Some don't know. That's great. I was an armourer. I've been an armourer on a film set for about 5 years, and that got me on a film set, sitting quietly in the background, not having to be at the front, and being able to see how people work, not just on camera as an actor, but seeing how they speak and how they treat other departments. Because you as a person, you can get anyone that can act on a camera, but to have them being a decent person off camera, that's huge in itself. Yeah. So, like we said, don't be a dick.
Seems to be a common theme in this industry, huh? You will always find good humans, but you've just got to find your human and leave the rest. What was the question again?
What advice and tips would you give to your younger self or people starting out in the industry?
Learn how to network. Learn how to talk to people. Learn how to build relationships from nothing. Relationships are first and foremost the primary goal. I can't sell something to someone unless I understand who they are. And whether that be learning through social media, that's one way of doing it, but I would hazard a guess in your generation, you actually need to learn to talk to people. Most of the deals that I make are made face-to-face because everyone in the industry is relying upon their gut feeling, because there are a lot of sharks and there are a lot of ill-intent people. If you don't know your worth, you will get taken. So learn to trust you and learn to talk and to build a relationship across oceans, because one day that those relationships will actually help each other. The same way that we said a few minutes ago about, I'd like to see what you're catching up with, because there may be a way that we can help each other and both get to where we want to go. Not in a way of, I can use your skills for the benefit of me, but together we may just be going in the same direction and it will all be easier. Another one that I fully support is stop running and gunning. It is a skill set that you must learn to learn your equipment, but it will not take you anywhere. I cannot employ you if you only know how to run and gun. There is a different set of rules and hierarchy when you move into set. And I have tried to employ TAFE people before, but they are not prepared, and as much as I have worked with them, I cannot employ them because they take more hours. To which I have a system to fix that for you. Anyway, we have to learn how the hierarchy works, where your opinions have a place in that room and where your opinions are never to come out of your mouth in that room. Sometimes you are just there to stand and do your job. And if everyone does their job in a totality, then the whole production moves through quicker, faster, smoother, and more efficient. I think all those words said the same thing. But if you can understand and find a mentor that will teach you and train you in the area that you want to be in, that'll leap and bound you over all the problems along the way. Yeah? So if I was to summarize that, learn to talk, learn your place on a set, and how to be a professional.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. We learned something from TAFE.